"That's exactly why you're the right person," Ethan said, his tone encouraging. "You don't have to be perfect, but you're willing to grow, and that's what matters. You've already shown that you're committed to the work. Now, you have the chance to use what you've learned to help others." Overwhelmed, Sarah looked down at her hands. This was an opportunity she hadn't imagined, one that went beyond personal redemption. It was a chance to make a real impact. "I'll need some time to think about it," she finally said, her voice steady. Ethan nodded. "Take all the time you need. Just know that the offer is there, and I believe you're capable of great things." Sarah left the office with a whirlwind of emotions. The weight of her past mistakes still lingered, but for the first time, she could see a path forward, one that could turn her error into something meaningful. As Sarah walked through the busy city streets, she reflected on the opportunity ahead. The offer from Ethan was not just about her personal redemption, but a chance to impact others. She had been working hard in the kitchen, learning from her mistakes and gaining a new perspective on prejudice and racism. But the weight of her past still lingered. Ethan's offer to involve her in his mentorship program played over and over in her mind. It was terrifying, yet exciting. This was a chance to help others confront their own biases, just as she was learning to confront hers. Sarah couldn't help but think about her past. The subtle, ingrained racism in her upbringing, the offhand comments and jokes that had shaped her worldview. It was a process to unlearn those behaviors, and she was still in the middle of it. As she worked in the kitchen, she began to appreciate the art of cooking, something she once did out of necessity. Her relationships with her colleagues also started to improve, as she made an effort to listen and learn from them. The kitchen staff, once skeptical of her presence, began warming up to her as she proved her dedication. Many of them came from different backgrounds, and Sarah realized how limited her perspective had been. She was gaining not just a new role, but a new understanding of the people around her. One evening, after her shift, Sarah sat in the break room, her mind still occupied with Ethan's offer. Could she really stand in front of a group of young people and share her story of failure and redemption? It felt overwhelming, but the idea of making a difference gave her hope. Christine walked into the room, sensing Sarah's inner turmoil. "You've been quiet lately," she said, sitting down next to her. "Still thinking about what Ethan said?" "Yeah," Sarah nodded. "It's a lot to take in." Christine gave her a thoughtful look. "You don't have to rush. You've got time to figure it out." "I just don't know if I'm the right person for this," Sarah admitted. "I've made so many mistakes. Who am I to tell others how to live?" "You're not telling them how to live," Christine replied. "You're sharing your story. People relate to honesty and struggle. The fact that you've made mistakes is exactly why your story matters." Sarah sighed, still unsure. "What if I say the wrong thing? What if I mess it all up?" "You won't," Christine reassured her. "You've learned a lot, and you're still learning. That's what makes you human, and that's what will make people listen. Plus, you'll have support. Ethan's got a whole team behind him." Sarah felt some of the weight lift off her shoulders. Christine had been there for her through everything, and she trusted her judgment. The thought of exposing her vulnerabilities was daunting, but maybe that's what she needed to do. "I guess I've just been scared," Sarah admitted. "Scared of failing, of not being enough." Christine smiled warmly. "You've already proven you're more than enough. You're strong, and you've got a good heart. That's all you need to make this work." Sarah felt a warmth spread through her as Christine's words sank in. She realized that this opportunity wasn't just about redemption. It was about using her experience to make a difference. And for the first time, she felt ready to take the next step forward. For the first time since Ethan's offer, Sarah felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe she could turn her mistake into something meaningful, something that could help others. Surrounded by the quiet hum of the restaurant, Sarah made her decision. She would join the mentorship program and use her story to inspire change, not just in herself, but in others. It was time to step forward, embrace the opportunity, and turn her past into a force for good. The next morning, Sarah awoke with a clarity she hadn't felt in weeks. Her fears hadn't disappeared, but they no longer controlled her. She was ready to face this new challenge, no matter how uncertain the path seemed. As she reflected on how far she had come, Sarah realized how much her encounter with Ethan had changed her. What started as a painful wake-up call had now evolved into a chance to make a difference. Joining the mentorship program meant stepping out of her comfort zone and confronting her past, not just privately, but publicly. The thought of sharing her story of guilt, shame, and growth was daunting, but Sarah knew it was necessary. It wasn't just about her own journey anymore. It was about helping others avoid the same mistakes. After her shift, Sarah knew what she had to do. With a deep breath, she pulled out her phone and found Ethan's number. She hesitated, her thumb hovering over the screen. What if she wasn't ready? But she shook off the doubts. This was about more than her own insecurities. She pressed the call button and waited as the phone rang. "Sarah," came Ethan's familiar voice. Her heart skipped a beat, but she steadied herself. "Hi, Ethan," she said, her voice nervous but determined. "I've been thinking about your offer, and I've decided. I'd like to be part of the mentorship program." There was a brief pause before Ethan replied, his voice warm with approval. "I'm glad to hear that. You're making a brave choice, Sarah. This work isn't easy, but I believe you'll be a valuable addition to the team." Sarah exhaled, relief washing over her. "Thank you. I'm still nervous, but I know this is the right thing to do." "That's normal," Ethan reassured her. "What matters is that you're willing to step up. We'll take it one step at a time, and you won't be doing this alone." His words gave Sarah a sense of calm she hadn't felt in days. Ethan had faith in her, and now she needed to start believing in herself, too. "I appreciate that," she said softly. "When do we get started?" "We have a team meeting next week," Ethan replied. "I'll send you the details. We'll go over everything, how you can get involved and the support we provide." "That sounds great," Sarah said, feeling a sense of purpose take root inside her. "And, Sarah," Ethan added, "I'm proud of you for taking this step. It takes courage to face your past, let alone use it to help others." His words hit Sarah harder than she expected. "Thank you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. After ending the call, she sat in silence, letting the gravity of her decision sink in. She had officially taken the first step toward something new and meaningful. That night, Sarah shared the news with Christine, who was thrilled. They sat for hours talking about what this new chapter would mean. Christine had always believed in Sarah, and now that belief was starting to transfer to Sarah herself. Over the next few days, Sarah prepared for the meeting. She researched the mentorship program, read about social justice and anti-racism, and even began journaling about her own experiences. The path ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, she felt ready to embrace it. By the time the day of the meeting arrived, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She was about to join a space where others, shaped by their own experiences with bias and discrimination, came together to create change. It was daunting, but Sarah reminded herself that no one expected her to be perfect. She was there to learn and grow. As Sarah entered the room, she saw Ethan and several other program members waiting. They greeted her warmly, and for the first time in a long while, Sarah felt a sense of belonging. This was the beginning of something new, not just for her, but for others she hoped to help. The path ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to walk it. The meeting room was filled with a diverse group of people, each with a story of their own. Some were young and eager, while others carried the weight of experience and wisdom. Sarah realized they were all there for the same purpose, to help others navigate the struggles they had once faced. Ethan stood at the front, commanding yet welcoming. He began by introducing the mentorship program and its goals. His voice was filled with conviction, and as he spoke, Sarah's anxiety began to ease. Ethan had turned his own pain into purpose, and now he was asking her to do the same. "Welcome, everyone," Ethan began. "You're here because you believe in the power of change. Each of you has had an experience that shaped you, but what matters most is what you do with that experience now. We're not here to dwell on the past, but to learn from it and create a better future for others." Sarah listened intently as Ethan explained the program's outreach efforts, which included working with local schools, businesses, and organizations to raise awareness about racism, discrimination, and the importance of empathy. As he opened the floor for introductions, Sarah felt a knot form in her stomach.